This is the line from Bury to Rawtenstall. It was laid in the 1840s by a group calling themselves the Manchester, Bury and Rossendale Railway. Even before it was opened, it became part of an even larger group known as the East Lancashire Railway, and its headquarters was an imposing building at Bury Station. Its tracks stretched from the Manchester line at Clifton, north to Bacup and to Accrington, and beyond to Blackburn and to Cone. But it remained the East Lancashire Railway for only 13 years, being absorbed into the Lancashire and Yorkshire in the 1850s. From the 1920s it was under the care of the London, Midland and Scottish, and from the late 40s it became part of the British Railways network. Throughout it provided a valuable link with a string of towns and villages and small hamlets stretching the length of the Rossendale Valley and beyond. By the end of the 60s, the line was feeling the pressure of changing times, and despite the pleas and protests from remote hamlets, British Railways closed its passenger service from Bury to Rawtenstall on June the 3rd, 1972. Some years earlier, in 1968, a group had been formed to attempt the preservation of the Accrington branch. They had not been successful, but in 1972 they were invited by the Bury Council to set up new headquarters in the East Lancashire Railway's old goods warehouse at Castlecroft and work towards the restoration of the Bury to Rawtenstall line. For the East Lancashire Railway Preservation Society, the 70s were difficult and anxious years, for the growing activities at Castlecroft aroused the interest of the public and enthusiasts alike. In December of 1980, British Railways gave up the use of the line. With the active support of Greater Manchester Council and the Bury and Rossendale authorities, measures were quickly taken to secure it. Spirits rose and membership rose, and the dreams of many long challenging years were soon to become a reality. The growing prospects of the society were now attracting the heavyweights. The huge mainline locomotives were arriving at Bury. Here at Buckley Wells, where the East Lancashire Railway once built its own locomotives, Keith Bottomley's 9F arrives from the famous Barry Island scrapyard in South Wales to join a Black 5 and a variety of already obsolete diesels. A great deal of time, money and dedicated work would have to be spent before the Morning Star would be proudly steaming up the Rossendale Valley. It was resolved that the line would be opened initially as far as Ramsbottom, with the prospect of extending to Rawtenstall within the following 2 years. This allowed work to be concentrated on restoring the stations at Ramsbottom and at Bury Bolton Street, sufficient to handle passenger traffic as soon as was possible. The opportunity to use the station at Bury Bolton Street, once British Railways had abandoned the line, proved to be a considerable asset. But yet more ambitious schemes were emerging on the drawing boards of the Bury Planning Department. In offices overlooking the Bolton Street station, Malcolm Stewart works on designs for a new station to be built at Ramsbottom, in a style which still retains the character of the Lancashire and Yorkshire buildings. Designs for the terminus at Bury include an ornate Victorian facade and an expanded building with a museum to set the historical scene and a restaurant overlooking the passing trains. A community task force funded by the MSC and backed with a record grant of £600,000 from the Department of the Environment set about restoring the track and consolidating the land. By now, expansion had led to further plans for a new loco shed to be built on the original goods sidings at Buckley Wells. In 1986, a light railway order had been granted, and with it the legal right to operate the line. In a fever of activity, members prepared for the grand reopening. The announcement came in the spring of the following year. The line was to be opened on Saturday, July the 25th, 1987. The Mayor of Bury, Mrs. Jackie Adler, was invited to give the occasion a civic send-off. Joining Mrs. Adler for the inaugural journey was the Mayor of Rossendale, Mr. Patrick Neville. Perhaps amongst the crowds who thronged the platform on that memorable day were the ghosts of those who attended a similar function at the same place 141 years ago, at the original opening of the line in September of 1846. But Bury's present Member of Parliament, Mr. Alistair Butt, attending with his wife and daughter, no longer sported the silk hat and frock coat of his Victorian predecessor. The banner in place, the Mayor of Bury with the Chairman of the East Lancashire Railway, Mr. Trevor Jones, prepares to declare the line officially open.
Today marks the most exciting development in the life of the Metropolitan Borough of Bury, and indeed the North West region. And I am proud to have the honour of declaring officially open the East Lancashire Light Railway, Bury to Ramsbottom line, and to give in a few minutes' time the right of way with green flag and whistle to the first train to Ramsbottom. The reopening of the line has brought to fruition a tremendous amount of hard work by many people over many years, and I do congratulate all concerned on their enthusiasm, determination and dedication that has made today possible. The foresight that has been shown by these people will certainly be of benefit to the Metropolitan Borough of Bury throughout, and to Rossendale, as the railway will, with the support of the members of the public, will become a major tourist attraction. The promotion of the borough to improve its economy has been of paramount importance to the council, and with this in mind the council was most happy to be involved and to become members of the East Lancashire Light Railway Company, a partnership of Bury and Rossendale councils and the East Lancashire Light Railway Company. Today's celebrations have been patiently awaited, and you can imagine how pleased I was when the opening date was settled. This project is a credit to all who have been connected with it, and I would like to extend many thanks, in particular to the East Lancashire Company and the members of the Preservation Society for all their hard work, and also to the Rossendale Borough Council, the members of the former Greater Manchester Council, and indeed my fellow members of the Bury Council, for their contribution to make this project such a great success. Come on, say, and now declare this station officially opened. Come on.
I hope I'm not dirty. I've just been in the fire thing, you know, in the engine.
Double-heading 6 coach loads of jubilant passengers, Ian Riley's beautifully restored locomotive Gothenburg and the Society's own 060 No. 1 proudly draw the first service train from Bolton Street Station.
Because we're hoping that it will bring us more people will come and
as we left the station back there, there were...
And I think it's the attraction of the steam engine that's the exciting about them. They're just on the road, aren't they?
Soon after starting its journey, the train is speeding across open country at Burrs, where a new halt is to be constructed for ramblers and walkers. The villagers of remote Somerset were once heavily dependent on the line, and there were strong protests and demonstrations here when passenger services were first threatened in the 60s. It must have been a poignant moment for many when the train returned again to the humble platform of a once elegant station. Ready to welcome the train's arrival at Ramsbottom Station is the Clan Grant Pipe Band from Grantown-on-Spey. Almost 200 years ago, the famous Grant brothers left their native Spey side to settle in Ramsbottom and played a major part in the growth of the town.
Good morning. Oh, that's lovely. It's a gorgeous day, isn't it? I'm so glad it's not raining today, because it does help. But it's so nice to see so many people coming here and looking at the train. I hope that somewhere and someday that you'll all come back if you don't live in Ramsbottom and use our trains and come in, look round Ramsbottom, go up to Holcombe Hill there, because we've got such a lot to offer. Ramsbottom has, and Bury has. But I'm not here to make a speech to you this morning. I've done that in Bury. What I really want to do is now introduce the Mayor of Rossendale to you. So we'll all give him a good round of a welcome, like Ramsbottom people can do.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Mayor's speech on July the 25th, 1987, which is as it's written down here, actually. I have to say this. My wife said, just talk slow, so if I start stuttering, you know that I'm not talking slow. I'm very pleased to be able to welcome you all both to Ramsbottom and to this first step in the reopening of the East Lancashire Railway. Although I'm officially a guest and a visitor in the borough of Bury, is it? Bury. I tell you, breaking these teeth in for the dog. Ramsbottom's historic links with Rossendale still survive and will be strengthened in this permanent way when the town once more assumes its role as a gateway to the valley, instead of being bypassed as it has been in recent years. My presence here, speaking to you on this happy occasion, typifies the spirit of cooperation that ensured that our determination to reopen the railway should not run out of steam. That's a pun. Just in case you hadn't noticed it, you know. Rossendale has worked hard with the members and officers of the railway company, the Greater Manchester Council, oh, it's this wind and drop, Bury, and I hope soon with Lancashire County. Thank you. Only supported that for the last few years. Not only to bring the railway back, but also to make sure that all the communities which it will serve once again experience increased activity and prosperity which will be carried each train. Am I going too fast? Each train here in Ramsbottom and take visitors on to Holcombe, where they can walk. It is thus with great pleasure that I say, on behalf of the people of Rossendale, thank you to those who already worked so hard to bring about today's great occasions, and to the East Lancashire Railway, welcome back. The only regret I have that it's not going to Bacup. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, if I can. I have been asked to say a few words. Just a couple of sentences, they said. Well, here they are, and they are rather long sentences, because I learnt from local example. Well, the real Mr. Hamer, stand up, please. Worships, Lady Mayoresses, Madam Chairman, gentlemen and ladies of the railway company, lady and gentlemen travellers and visitors, on behalf of the Chamber of Trade, I take great pleasure in welcoming you to Ramsbottom on this first steam train. I too congratulate the East Lancashire Railway workers on their fine achievement in restoring this line, and I look forward to welcoming many more visitors in the future. For your entertainment here, there will be music and dancing, and hopefully more music in the town centre. So ladies and gentlemen, please, have a nice day. And if you do miss the train back, stay a while.
Following Mrs. Barbara Palmer's welcome on behalf of the local Chamber of Trade, the civic party travelled in vintage transport around the festive town. The opening of the 4.5 miles of track from Bury to Ramsbottom was a major achievement for the East Lancashire Railway, and in the months that followed, many extra trains were required to cope with the thousands of people who came to support them. The opening of the passenger services on the East Lancashire Railway between Bury and Ramsbottom in July of 1987 proved to be an immediate success. But for members of the East Lancashire Railway Society, the task was far from complete. Another 4 miles beyond lay Rottenstone, and that was to be their next objective. The site of the original station had been cleared many years before, and the line used only for occasional freight, so it was necessary to start once again with a new construction. But first, a celebration of a construction already achieved. On the evening of June 19, 1989, the saddle tank locomotive Sir Robert Peel called a party of local dignitaries to Ramsbottom to officially open the new station building.
Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, what a glorious evening. We couldn't possibly have had a better one to welcome so many people to Ramsbottom and to enable the people of Ramsbottom who are extending this welcome to give such a hearty one to all our guests. Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my very pleasant duty to extend a formal invitation to the Worshipful the Mayor to open this station, and I gather that first of all he wants to say a few words. He will then draw back the curtain. There is a stone behind that curtain, kindly supplied by Mr. Rothwell, the general contractor on this job, and I'm sure he will be very proud of that.
I'd like to say tonight that I'm very pleased to open this station. I hope that everyone who can get round it and have a look at it. I don't want to say much more, but I would like to declare the station building open and wish the people of Ramsbottom and the East Lancashire Railway Trust and everyone who travels upon the railway in the future every success and hope that they enjoy a growing success in the future. Thank you.
Following the unveiling of the clock, the Mayor of Bury, Councillor Alan Matthews, together with the Mayor of Rossendale, formally opened the new station. The station, though not a reconstruction of the original building at Ramsbottom, has been designed by the Bury Planning Department very much in the style of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. Construction was by a local builder, Fred Rothman. Also on the platform were television cameras from the BBC's Look Northwest programme. Presenter Stuart Hall talking to Trevor Jones, chairman of the East Lancashire Light Railway Company.
Of the East Lancs Railway Company, Trevor, what a night tonight. There's 4,000 people here. It's Is it one? Oh, what a turn. Okay, well, it's the start. End of the stage of the green. We're trying to get this railway to Rossendale. Do it like that. 4.5 miles. Take it away.
Another milestone of progress celebrated, it was time once more for the locomotives to take the spotlight. More and more mainline locomotives were attracted to the new stretch of line. And in August of 1989, Derek Foster's immaculately restored Standard Class 4 became the first tender engine to operate on the Society's tracks. Here it leaves Bury Bolton Street with another of Derek Foster's locos, the XLMS Ginty, on the eve of its return to his works at Kirby for overhaul. At the end of 1989, several members spent their Christmas installing a new footbridge at Ramsbottom Station. It also afforded an opportunity to demonstrate the skills of the Society's steam crane. The footbridge was formerly at Dinting in Derbyshire and was brought to Bury in 1987. steam crane was then put to the task of removing the temporary station building from Ramsbottom to take up a similar role at the site at Rawtenstall. Busily operating the summer service, Derek Foster's Standard 4 entered Ramsbottom Station in May of 1990. As the locomotive runs round, we see the early construction work of the station's second platform. In February of 1991, the line provided the splendid sight of two Standard 4s hauling a train double-headed from Bury to Ramsbottom. Joining the resident Class 4 was one from the Worth Valley Railway, on loan to the East Lancs over the winter months. In the foreground is the completed second platform at Ramsbottom. Christmas 1990 once more meant the Santa Specials, run every weekend in November and December. Booking in advance is essential, and over 10,000 passengers are carried over the season, with a gift from Santa on every trip.
Wheel!
The early months of 1991 saw the station at Rawtenstall moving towards completion. Early plans to open the line in October of 1990 had been abandoned, and hopes were now on a new date, April the 27th, 1991. Meanwhile, regular weekend services continued through the winter. Leaving Castlecroft, a train hauled by the RSH No. 1 passes a new visitor to the East Lancs, the GWR 460 locomotive Odney Manor, on loan from the Llangollen Railway in Wales. As the critical day approaches, there is feverish activity as final preparations are made to make sure that the occasion was to be worthy of its expectations. April the 27th, 1991, and the two veteran ELR locomotives RHS No. 1 and Gothenburg, which had drawn the first train along the line almost 4 years earlier, entered Ramsbottom Station and ceremoniously broke the tape to declare the new stretch of line officially open. The Civic Party paused for a while on the platform at the Bury Mayor Councillor Monty Adler to unveil a plaque to commemorate the occasion. The ceremony is over and the engines adequately watered. The first train to reopen passenger services to Rawtenstall prepared to depart. At Stubbins, where the original station still awaits restoration, another line once branched off to Accrington and to the northern section of the East Lancashire Railway. Replacing the old station at Ewood Bridge is a new one, down the line at Irwell Vale, and built by the Lancashire County Council. Welcoming the railway back to Rossendale was the Mayor of the borough, Councillor Philip Dunn.
Your worships, reverend gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, it is a very great pleasure and a privilege to be here on this special occasion. And the first thing that we must say, on behalf of all the people, 300 or so people who have travelled up on this historic first train from Bury through Ramsbottom all the way to Rawtenstall is thank you to the people of Rosendale and the visitors to Rosendale who are here this morning and this afternoon to welcome the train. Thank you very much indeed. You have done us proud. This is a wonderful day, a wonderful welcome from wonderful people with wonderful weather. Thank you once again for your welcome. Thank you for being here. Please enjoy today. It's a wonderful occasion that will never be repeated. The very best of wishes to you all, and have a wonderful day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed.
Amongst the guests were the Mayoress of Bury, Mrs. Jackie Adler, who, as Mayor of the Borough, had opened the line to Ramsbottom in 1987. Crowds moved along the platform to the temporary station, which was to serve until the new building was completed in the following year. Amid all the festivities, Station Master David Russell decides it's time to get things moving again. Sharing the honours on the opening day was the Great Western locomotive Olden Days, seen here bringing the second train into Ramsbottom Station. After more than 20 years of effort and determination, the proud members of the East Lancashire Railway had achieved their ambition. But their minds were already turning to new projects and new horizons. Curving away to the east, the track of the old line to Hayward had only just been abandoned as a freight service, and moving swiftly, the local authorities of Bury and Rochdale in the East Lancashire Railway bought the land from British Rail in 1991. But there were many difficulties to be faced, and though the link with the main line at Castleton had been restored, the track was not yet fit for passenger traffic. Bridges needed attention, the one at Broadfield needed reconstructing, cuttings had to be re-excavated, and in 1992 the Metrolink service to Manchester opened and severed the line out of Bolton Street Station. But in the pioneering spirit of their Victorian ancestors, the East Lancs Railway teams rose to the challenge. New trackwork was laid, a new signalling system was introduced, and substantial grants were attracted by their success. On the 6th of September 2003, the first passenger train to Hayward along the restored line curved out of Bolton Street Station. It stormed up the hump, the severe incline which now carried the line over the Metrolink tracks and past the side of another Bury station, Knowsley Street, along the old Lancashire and Yorkshire route. Maintaining a high level, the train is carried over the roach at Heap. The line then passes over the M66 motorway, and it is claimed to have been the first preserved railway to cross over a motorway in Britain. It is a 4-mile journey to Haywood, and preparations are already underway. The train arrived hauled by the steam locomotive Leander, and at the rear the diesel locomotive D5054. Soon the platform was crowded with people and personalities, eager to celebrate another achievement in the history of the line. It has been a long journey from those early days at Castlecroft in the 1960s, and there have been many problems to be overcome. But today the East Lancashire Railway can be proud of its achievements as one of the country's leading preservation lines.